My beloved child, before you do anything else, before your mind rushes to tomorrow, before fear tells you another lie, be still for just a moment. I have something I need you to hear. Not because you found this message by accident, but because I have been speaking to your heart long before your eyes found these words. I know you have asked questions that no one else has heard. Questions you whispered into the darkness when the room was silent. Questions that even your closest friends never knew existed. You smiled during the day, you encouraged other people, you carried responsibilities that felt too heavy. But when the night came, you wondered if anyone truly understood how tired your soul had become. I did. I heard every silent cry. I counted every tear that never reached your face. I watched every battle you fought inside your own mind. There were moments when you almost gave up. Not because you stopped loving me, but because you were exhausted. You kept asking yourself, how much longer? My God, how much longer must I wait? Listen to me carefully. Waiting has never been proof that I abandoned you. Waiting has always been part of preparation. Look at the sunrise. Does the sun appear the moment midnight ends? No. There is first a long darkness, then the first faint light. Then color begins to spread across the sky. Only after the process is complete does the full beauty appear. If the sunrise cannot be rushed, why do you believe your purpose should be? My child, you have been measuring your life by clocks. I have been measuring it by purpose. Those are not the same thing. You keep saying, I am running out of time, but I keep saying I am building something that time cannot destroy. There is something I want you to understand today. Every delay has protected you from something you never saw. There were doors you begged me to open. Had I opened them, they would have become prisons. There were relationships you begged me to restore. Had I restored them, they would have stolen the peace I planned to give you. There were opportunities you thought you lost forever. But what looked like loss was actually my mercy. You judged the chapter before reading the ending. And I never write unfinished stories. Think about an eagle. Before it learns to fly, it does not begin in the sky. It begins inside a small nest, protected, hidden, growing. The day eventually comes when the mother eagle pushes it toward the edge. To the young eagle, it feels cruel. It feels frightening. It feels unfair. But the mother already knows something the baby cannot understand. Those wings were never created to stay inside the nest. Neither were you. Some of the places you wanted to remain were only temporary nests. I love you too much to let you spend your entire life somewhere I only intended you to visit. You called it security. I called it limitation. You called it comfort. I called it delay. You called it home. I called it preparation. Do you remember the moments when everything started changing at once? People left. Plans collapsed. Dreams seemed to disappear. Nothing made sense anymore. You believed your life was falling apart. But let me tell you what heaven saw. Heaven did not see destruction. Heaven saw construction. Construction is always noisy. Walls come down. Dust fills the air. Old foundations are removed. To someone passing by, it looks like chaos. But the architect smiles because he knows exactly what he is building. I am that architect. And I have never forgotten the blueprint I designed for your life. Even when you forgot who you were, I remembered. Even when you doubted your future, I never doubted it. My child, you have spent so much time asking why certain things happened that you almost missed what those moments were producing inside you. Patience, compassion, wisdom, humility, strength, faith that no storm could steal. Those gifts could never be purchased. They could only be developed. Have you ever watched a potter shape clay? The clay does not understand why it keeps spinning. It does not understand why pressure keeps coming from every direction. If clay could speak, it would probably ask, why are you squeezing me? Why won't you let me rest? But the potter smiles. Because he already sees the masterpiece, hiding inside what still looks ordinary. My child, I have never looked at you the way the world does. The world sees your failures. I see your potential. The world remembers your mistakes. I remember my purpose. The world labels you by your past. I call you by your future. There were days you believed your best years were already behind you. You compared yourself to others. You watched their victories. You celebrated their blessings, while secretly wondering, when will it finally be my turn? Listen carefully. Comparison has stolen more joy than failure ever could. You were never created to run someone else's race. You were created to finish yours. The seed buried beside another seed never competes. It simply grows according to the design placed inside it. That is what I am asking you to do. Stop measuring someone else's harvest while ignoring the miracle growing beneath your own soil. Because beneath the surface, something is happening. Roots are growing where no human eye can see. And roots always come before fruit. Never forget that. People celebrate fruit. Heaven celebrates roots. Because without deep roots, the first storm destroys everything. My child, I have been strengthening what nobody applauds, so that one day the blessing everyone notices will never be taken away. And I need you to hear this. The enemy wanted your disappointment to become your identity. He wanted one painful chapter to become your entire story. But I refused. Every time you chose hope instead of bitterness, you became stronger than you realized. Every time you forgave, you broke chains you could not see. Every time you prayed, even when you felt nothing, heaven heard everything. Not one prayer disappeared. Not one tear was forgotten. Not one act of faith was wasted. The answers are moving toward you, even when your eyes cannot yet recognize them. So today, stop asking God, where are you? Instead ask, God, what are you preparing me for? Because the answer to that question will change the way you see every difficult season you have ever walked through. My beloved child, stay with me a little longer. Do not let your heart rush ahead of this moment. Some of the answers you have been searching for are not hidden because I want to keep them from you. They are hidden because I want to reveal them at the right time. There is a difference. A seed hidden beneath the soil is not forgotten. It is protected. It is becoming something greater than anyone standing above the ground can imagine. That is where many of your dreams have been. Not forgotten, not abandoned, simply growing where your natural eyes could never see them. You have looked at empty fields and believed nothing was happening. But I have been working beneath the surface every single day. Roots have been stretching, strength has been forming, life has been preparing itself for the moment when it finally breaks through the ground. And when that day comes, no one will remember how long the seed stayed buried. They will only marvel at the harvest. My child, do not despise hidden seasons. Hidden seasons produce visible miracles. I know there were mornings when getting out of bed felt like climbing a mountain. You smiled because people expected you to. You laughed because you did not want anyone to worry. But inside, your heart carried questions too heavy to explain. You wondered why everyone else seemed to be moving forward while your life felt frozen. You watched others celebrate. You applauded them. You genuinely wanted good things for them. Yet when the room became quiet again, you whispered, Lord, have you forgotten about me? Listen carefully. I have never compared you to anyone. So why are you comparing yourself to them? I did not create identical fingerprints. I did not create identical stories. Why would I create identical destinies? The journey I prepared for you has never belonged to another person. Stop looking sideways. Look upward. The peace you are searching for will never be found in comparison. It will only be found in my presence. Have you ever watched a river carve its way through solid rock? It does not happen because the river is stronger than the mountain. It happens because the river keeps flowing. Day after day, night after night, year after year, the impossible slowly becomes possible. That is what faith looks like. Faith is not always loud. Sometimes faith is simply choosing to keep moving one more day. One more prayer. One more act of kindness. One more reason to believe. And every one of those small moments matters more than you realize. Heaven celebrates the faithfulness nobody else notices. The world applauds finished victories. I rejoice over faithful hearts. Do you remember how many times you almost quit? I do. I remember every single one. I remember the conversation you never told anyone about. The one you had with yourself. You looked into the mirror and wondered whether your dreams had expired. You questioned your purpose. You questioned your value. You even questioned whether your prayers still mattered. My child, if your prayers did not matter, why would the enemy fight so hard to make you stop praying? Think about that. Every whisper of hope has unsettled darkness more than you know. Every act of forgiveness has weakened chains you could not see. Every moment you chose love instead of revenge changed something in the unseen world. Nothing done in faith is ever wasted. Nothing. There is something else I want you to understand. You have asked me many times to remove every storm from your life, but storms have taught you lessons that sunshine never could. A tree that has never faced strong winds often develops shallow roots. The first storm becomes its last, but the tree that survives difficult seasons sends its roots deeper. It becomes stronger, more stable, more prepared for what lies ahead. My child, the storms did not come to announce your destruction. They came to reveal your foundation. And every storm you survived became proof that I was holding you, even when you felt like you were standing alone. Do not misunderstand my silence. Silence does not mean absence. When an artist paints a masterpiece, there are moments when the room becomes completely quiet. Not because nothing is happening, but because something beautiful is being created. Many of the quiet seasons in your life have been my workshop. While you believed everything had stopped, I was adding details you could not yet appreciate. I was shaping conversations that had not happened, preparing opportunities you had never imagined, touching hearts you had never met, opening doors you did not even know existed. You kept asking for immediate answers. I was preparing lasting ones. Never confuse speed with wisdom. Everything that grows too quickly can also disappear too quickly. But what is deeply rooted endures. My beloved, there are people who walked away from your life. You cried over them. You prayed for them. You wondered what you had done wrong. Sometimes the answer is nothing. Not every departure is punishment. Some departures are protection. Not every closed door is rejection. Some closed doors are rescue. If I remove someone from your journey, trust that I can also send the right people at the right time. I know the companions your future requires. Do not chase those I have already released. Keep your hands open. Closed hands cannot receive new gifts. Open hands can. There is another reason I allowed certain dreams to pause. Because I wanted your identity to rest in me, not in your achievements. If success became your foundation, failure would destroy you. But if I become your foundation, nothing can shake you. You are not valuable because of what you accomplish. You are valuable because you are loved. Before you earned anything, I loved you. Before anyone applauded you, I loved you. Before you succeeded, I loved you. And if the whole world turned away tomorrow, my love would remain exactly the same. That has never changed. It never will. So today, release the pressure you have been carrying. You were never asked to control tomorrow. You were only asked to trust me today. Tomorrow has enough grace waiting for it. But today needs your faith. Just one step, one prayer, one decision to keep walking. That is enough. Because I have never asked you to see the entire staircase, only the next step. And every time you take that step with me, another one appears. That is how faith has always worked. Now listen very carefully. The chapter you have been living is not the conclusion of your story. It is the preparation for the chapter that follows. The tears you cried have been watering ground you cannot yet see. The kindness you showed has planted seeds that are already growing. The prayers you prayed have never stopped moving through heaven. Answers are already in motion. People are already being positioned. Doors are already beginning to unlock. You cannot hear every key turning, but I can. So lift your head. Take a deep breath. Hope again. Believe again. Trust again. Not because life has suddenly become easy, but because I have never stopped walking beside you. Even in the valley, even in the silence, even in the waiting. I was there. I am here. And I will still be there when the promise finally becomes reality. So do not give up now, my beloved child. You have come too far to let fear write the final sentence of your story. I am not finished. The best chapter has not yet been written. My beloved child, come closer. Do not let your attention drift now. The words you are about to hear are not meant to fill your mind for a moment. They are meant to settle deep within your heart. You have carried questions for so long that they began to feel heavier than your hope. You learned how to smile while carrying invisible burdens. You learned how to encourage others while secretly wondering who would encourage you. You became strong for everyone else. Yet there were nights when you wished someone would simply look into your eyes and ask, "Are you really okay?" My beloved, I asked that question long before anyone else ever did, and I already knew the answer. I knew about the tears you never allowed anyone to see. I knew about the prayers that ended in silence, because you no longer had the strength to finish your sentences. I knew about the disappointment you carried after believing one more door would finally open. I saw everything. Nothing escaped my attention. Not one heartbeat. Not one lonely night. Not one anxious thought. You have never suffered outside of my awareness. I have walked beside you through every valley. Even when you could not recognize my footsteps, mine were the only footprints carrying you forward. There is something I want you to remember forever. The greatest transformations in creation happen where human eyes cannot see. A child grows in the hidden place before entering the world. Roots spread beneath the earth before branches reach toward the sky. Pearls are formed deep inside the sea where no applause can reach them. The brightest stars are born in places so dark they seem impossible to survive. Why then do you believe your own transformation should happen in public? Some of my greatest work in your life has happened in secret. Not because I wanted to hide you, but because I wanted to protect what I was creating. Every promise has its season. Every purpose has its timing. Every blessing has its preparation. If I had given you yesterday what I have prepared for tomorrow, it would have crushed you. Not because you were weak, but because the weight of the blessing requires the strength that only preparation can build. You have often prayed, "Lord, change my circumstances." But many times I was answering a deeper prayer you did not even know you were praying. I was changing you. Because when your heart changes, everything around you begins to look different. Peace is no longer dependent upon perfect circumstances. Joy is no longer controlled by temporary success. Hope no longer rises and falls with the opinions of people. Instead, you begin to live from something far stronger. You begin to live from trust. That is what I have been building inside you. Not temporary excitement, but unshakable trust. My child, the world rewards people for what they achieve. Heaven rejoices over who they become. Never confuse those two things. Achievements can disappear overnight. Character remains. Money can be lost. Titles can change. Fame fades, but a heart transformed by love carries eternal value. That is why I cared more about your character than your comfort. Comfort rarely changes a life. Love does. Faith does. Obedience does. Have you ever watched a lighthouse during a storm? The lighthouse does not stop the waves. It does not remove the wind. It simply continues shining. Its purpose was never to control the storm. Its purpose was to guide people safely through it. My beloved, that is who I am calling you to become. Not someone who is never tested, but someone whose light continues shining even while the storm is raging. People are watching your life more than you realize. Some of them will never open a Bible. Some of them may never step inside a church. But they are watching how you respond when life becomes difficult. They are watching whether hope remains in your voice, whether kindness remains in your actions, whether forgiveness remains in your heart. Every time you choose love over anger, you reveal something beautiful about me. Every time you choose peace instead of revenge, you become a living testimony that darkness has not overcome the light. Do not underestimate the influence of quiet faithfulness. A single candle seems small, until the entire room becomes dark. Then everyone notices the light. My child, the season ahead of you will require courage. Not because I'm sending you into danger, but because I'm calling you beyond what feels familiar. Growth always asks for courage. Faith always requires movement. You cannot remain in yesterday and expect tomorrow to arrive. There are dreams I planted inside your heart years ago. Dreams you almost buried beneath disappointment. Dreams you convinced yourself were impossible. Yet I never removed them, because what I place within you carries purpose. Do not abandon what I have not canceled. There will be moments very soon when opportunities appear unexpectedly. Do not let fear make decisions that faith should make. Pray, listen, move with wisdom. But do not let yesterday's pain steal tomorrow's possibility. The chapter ahead will not look like the chapter behind you. The waiting has taught you patience. The tears have taught you compassion. The silence has taught you to recognize my whisper. Now those lessons will become your strength. There are people I will place in your path who need exactly what I have built inside you. They do not need someone perfect. They need someone genuine, someone who understands brokenness, someone who knows what it feels like to wait, someone who has discovered hope after disappointment. That person is becoming you. Never be ashamed of the valleys you survived. They became the classroom where wisdom was born. One day, someone will tell you they almost gave up. and your story will become the reason they choose to keep believing. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Nothing. Not the delays. Not the disappointments. Not the lonely nights. Not the unanswered questions. I have been weaving every thread together into something more beautiful than you can presently imagine. One day you will look back, not with bitterness, but with gratitude. You will understand why certain doors never opened. You will understand why certain people had to leave. You will understand why some prayers took longer than you expected. And when that day comes, you will not only thank me for what I gave you, you will thank me for what I lovingly withheld. Because you will finally see the entire picture. Until then, walk by faith, not by fear, not by comparison, not by what you cannot yet understand. Walk with me. Every sunrise is another reminder that darkness never has the final word. Every new morning is proof that hope always returns, and every breath you take is evidence that your story is still being written. So lift your eyes, my beloved. Release the weight you were never created to carry alone. Place your future into my hands. Leave your regrets behind. Forgive those who wounded you. Be patient with yourself. Continue choosing kindness. Continue choosing faith. Continue choosing love. The harvest you cannot yet see is already growing beneath the surface. The answer you have been waiting for is closer than you think. The strength you prayed for is already within you. The peace you searched for has been waiting in my presence all along. Remember this whenever doubt tries to speak louder than hope. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not too late. You are not beyond redemption. You are deeply loved. You are being prepared. You are being strengthened. And you are never walking alone. So take one more step. Trust me one more day. Believe one more time. Because I am faithful. Yesterday, today, and forever. Now go forward with confidence, my beloved child. The road ahead may still have challenges, but it also carries purpose. And the one who called you will never leave you before the journey is complete. Amen.